You wake up before the sun. Not because anyone told you to, not because there's a schedule. You wake up because your body learned, over 23 years of working the same red plateau soil, that the hour before dawn is the only hour when the land still belongs to you. After that, it belongs to the drought, the rain, the spirits, or the village, depending on the day. Your feet know every stone on the path to the field without needing your eyes. You carry a worn-handled hoe that belonged to your father, that belonged to your father's father, and its weight in your right hand is the only continuity you've ever known. Your family has 11 mouths. You feed 10 of them. The 11th is yours, and it eats last. Always. This year's harvest was good. 3 sacks of corn beyond what was expected.
That means your oldest daughter can marry with a full dowry, that you won't need to borrow grain from Elder Kofi before the next season, and that maybe, just maybe, you can trade one of the extra sacks for a new piece of fabric for your wife, who has worn the same one for 4 years and never complained once. You are at your peak. The land was generous. You slept 3 nights in a row without waking up in the middle of the night calculating how much rain is still missing. This is the exact moment the messenger arrives. He appears at the edge of your field mid-morning when the sun already hits head-on and the ground dries fast. He's a boy of about 12 that you recognize as a grandson of the elder council, thin with feet covered in orange dust and eyes that don't belong to a child. He doesn't speak. He extends a carved wooden staff with 3 spiral markings at the tip. You know that symbol. Every man in the village knows it. You never expected to see it pointed at you. The staff with 3 spirals means the council needs you now, not tomorrow, now.
You still don't know what saying yes is going to cost you, but you're about to find out. The council hall smells like wet ash and burned acacia leaf, the smell of decision, your grandmother used to say. 6 elders seated in a semicircle, Kofi at the center, somewhere in his 80s, with eyes that seem to have witnessed things the entire world has forgotten. You stand. No one tells you to sit. You don't sit. There is a village 3 days' walk from here, Kofi begins without ceremony. They lost their healer. They lost their harvest. They lost 10 men to the fever that came from the river. You wait. That doesn't explain the staff. You know the herbs. You know the land. Your father healed the drought of 92 with techniques no one else knows how to use anymore. My father is dead, you say. Exactly. That's why we're talking to you.
The offer is this. You go to the village of Namari, spend the dry season there, teach what you know about crop rotation, about reading the wind to forecast rain, about which roots can replace grain when grain runs out. You leave your family, your land, your harvest. In return, the council guarantees protection for yours while you're away, which in practice means no one takes your 3 extra sacks while you're gone. You refuse. Kofi doesn't blink. The village of Namari is 140 people. 43 of them are children. You refuse again, but this time it takes a full second longer to speak. The road to Namari is not a road. It's an intention of a path through thorn bushes and cracked earth that the heat has turned to ceramic. You carry your father's hoe, a sack with reserve seeds, dried leaves from 3 medicinal plants wrapped in fiber cloth, and a guilt that has no name, because you never learned to name feelings. And this is exactly where most stories about African farming get everything wrong. This isn't about tradition. This is about survival science passed down through generations, and you carry it all in your hands and your memory. Namari receives you in silence, not the respectful silence of those who wait, the silence of those who no longer have the energy to make noise. The children watch you from a distance. An older woman, who you'll come to find out is Amma, the village's informal matriarch, approaches without a smile and says, "Do you know how to farm, or do you know how to talk about farming?" "Tomorrow you'll tell me," you answer. It's the first time anyone has laughed in 3 days. Namari's agronomic diagnosis, if you can even call it that, is grim. The main field was planted with the same grain for 6 consecutive seasons, with no rotation, no fallow period. The soil is exhausted in the most literal sense. It gave everything it had and got nothing back. You recognize this pattern. You've seen your own land threaten to do the same before your father stepped in.
The river that supplies the village has a stretch of wet bank with black clay, a sign of nutrients that no one is using because it's 30 minutes on foot from the main field, and no one wants to walk more than necessary when they're hungry. You start working the next day. You divide the field into 3 sections. You explain, with patience you didn't know you had, why one part needs to rest while the others produce. The men of Namari listen to you with the polite skepticism of those who have already been burned by promises before. One of them, Yao, around 30, with a scar on his chin and an opinion about everything, challenges every decision you make with the energy of someone looking for a reason to disagree, not a solution. Why plant yam close to the corn? Yam roots loosen the soil. The corn appreciates it. My father never did that. Where is your father now? You ask. Yao doesn't answer. You keep planting. But while Namari was starting to breathe, something back home was stopping. The message arrives in the 5th week. Not a letter, a verbal message carried by a trader passing the route between the 2 villages.
Your wife is sick. Not the serious fever, but enough fever that she can't work the field. Your oldest son, 14 years old, is trying to cover what you'd be doing. 14 years old and a hoe that's too big for him. You sit at the entrance of the hut Amma lent you for an indefinite period, staring at Namari's field that is beginning to show the first signs of recovery, a green that didn't exist before, shy but real. You run the calculation that has no right answer. 43 children on this side, your family on the other. You don't go back. You send back with the trader a message for your son. Plant shallow when the soil is cracked. Water before the sun gets high. Don't try to do what I'd do. Do what you can manage. It's the most you can give right now. It's not enough. You know it's not. You thought the worst had already passed. It hadn't.
In the 8th week, the fever returns to Namari. Not the old one, a new one that starts in the feet and climbs. 3 children first, then 2 adults. You are not a healer, you are a farmer, but you remember the leaves you brought. You remember what your grandmother said about the bark of a specific tree that grows near rivers with black clay, and you spend 2 days testing combinations that may or may not work. Yao is the 5th to fall sick. When he recovers, and he does recover, slowly with the bark paste you prepared from memory and from desperation, he doesn't say thank you. He says, "How did you know?" "I didn't," I answer. "I took a chance." He stares at you for a long moment. Is that worse or better than knowing? You don't answer, because you have no answer, but the question stays with you. In the 12th week, Namari's field produces. Not abundantly, but it produces. Enough for the 43 children to eat. Enough for Amma to smile for the first time since you arrived. You pack your father's hoe and the leaves that were left and get ready to head back.
Kofi will honor the deal. Your family is protected. Your land is waiting for you. But you find out on the last day that Yaw went to 3 neighboring villages while you were working, told them what he saw, said your name. 2 of those villages sent messengers asking when you can come by. You look at the road home, then you look at the messengers. The field you left behind is green. The field waiting at home needs you too. Neither one can wait forever, and you only have 1 pair of hands. Drop a comment below telling us what you would have done in his place. There's no right answer, and that's exactly why it's worth the conversation.